One of the oldest memes in Bitcoin, the boating accident meme, right? If the authorities ever come looking for your Bitcoin, you just simply say you lost it in a boating accident and all will be well. Well, as Juan Carlos Reynoso found out, the boating accident excuse doesn't actually work. Welcome back, everyone. That's right. We are going to talk about this story. For the people who don't know, essentially there's a man being held in contempt of court, Juan Carlos Reynoso, and he is refusing to surrender 119.65 Bitcoin. You might be wondering why the authorities are looking for this Bitcoin from Mr. Reynoso. So I did some digging, and it turns out that Juan Carlos was involved seemingly with some really shady stuff. Let's dive into why the authorities were looking for Mr. Reynoso. So essentially, he was under investigation possibly for laundering money or fraud. It was actually a little bit difficult to figure out why the courts were looking for this guy, but essentially what it is it looks like he was involved with OmegaPro, which I had never heard of before. It seems that it was a Ponzi scheme that collapsed in 2023, 2024, and his laptop was seized by the FBI, which does line up with this series of events. You may have never heard of OmegaPro, and neither had I. So did some digging, and it turns out, right, they're a Dubai-based crypto and Forex investment platform. And of course, they were offering the fabled 200 to 300% returns in less than 2 years. I mean, who doesn't want that, right? And they also offered that they had these sophisticated algorithmic trading bots, right? Just give them your money, right? Just give them your money and they'll make more of it. Obviously, that wasn't true. It was a total scam. Before the company collapsed, it had attracted millions of investors, and it took in over $4 billion, most of it coming from Colombia, Argentina, Nigeria, and France. And of course, it geo-blocked the US to evade SEC scrutiny so that they can continue their scam. And OmegaPro really sounds like these high-yield investment platforms from 2017, right? You just give them some money and then every day they give you a percentage back. So it's pretty interesting because OmegaPro had a whole bunch of red flags. It lacked transparency in its leadership. It had no evidence at all of trading activity, and it was unlicensed by any reputable financial regulator. So there was a whole bunch of red flags, and of course the automated trading algorithm bots, that's just absolute nonsense. And like every typical Ponzi scheme, the older participants were being paid out by the newer participants until eventually you don't have enough newer participants and the whole thing just collapses. Pleb Underground is brought to you by NOHhue. Go check them out at NOHhue.com. They are building the Amazon for Bitcoiners, a one-stop shop for Bitcoin-only brands. New brands are going to be added every month, so go check them out. Don't miss what's happening at NOHhue.com. Pleb Underground is brought to you by CypherSafe. You guys all know I am a pet rock enjoyer. Love the swag, love the collectibles. This is the ultimate Bitcoin collectible. That's right, guys. We're talking 16 ounces of solid titanium, the Bitcoin Rouleau Triangle. Go check it out at CypherSafe.io. So the big question is, how did they get to figuring out Juan Carlos had some corn? So here we go. The investigation escalated after his arrest in Mexico on March 15th, 2023, during a raid on Black Wall Street Capital's offices in Mexico City. Authorities seized weapons, drugs, and $170,000 in cash, linking him to drug trafficking and money laundering alongside the Ponzi activities. Juan Carlos, he's a busy dude, huh? Busy guy. Anyways, he was released in June 2023 due to some procedural irregularities by the Mexican police. And then, of course, they did some more digging. And in June of 2024, the FBI seized his laptop. And that's where they uncovered the Ledger Wallet software on his laptop and the holdings of 119.65 BTC. The icing on the cake for this is that he had a text file that was tied to his Apple account that confirmed the ownership of the Bitcoin, proving he controlled the funds. It's like these people who back up their seed phrase on LastPass, or put it in a Google Doc. This is so embarrassing. Okay. The grand takeaway, guys. The grand takeaway. All these people that are pitching to you this nonsense of the boating accident, right? You could just tell the authorities you lost your Bitcoin in a boating accident. The shit doesn't work. Okay? And let me explain how it doesn't work. Okay? I've done this before, but for some reason it just seems like it just seems like maybe it doesn't get through. But look, it's very simple. You purchase Bitcoin, okay? Then it goes up in value, right? And then maybe a few years later, you then decide to sell that Bitcoin. Now, if you go and directly sell it to an individual, and that individual hands you cash or a service or something like that, then technically that transaction, that's just a trust transaction between two individuals. But, and this is the big piece. If you sell Bitcoin on a KYC exchange, and then you take that money and you transfer it to a bank account, okay? What this does is it crosses the line from Bitcoin into the legacy system. And when it crosses that line, it does it through a gatekeeper. And now that gatekeeper has the point where they can say, hey, this money appeared in your account. Where did this come from? So you see, you have to account for it. So all the people that are sitting there making you think that you're going to be buying fucking Lambos and yachts and mansions and you're not going to have to claim any of it because boating accidents. It's not how that shit works. Okay? Because what's going to happen is that you're going to go and file your taxes, which I know there's a whole bunch of people that pretend that they don't file taxes, and that's perfectly fine. I don't give a shit what you do. But in the event that you do go and file your income tax, right, there's going to be a giant discrepancy between the amount of money that you've deposited into your bank account from your Bitcoin sales and the amount of money that you are claiming for income. And now all of a sudden, the IRS has reasons to come and question you. Now, of course, that's a lot different than somebody who was, obviously selling drugs and guns and stuff like that. But the point is this, right? How did they find his Bitcoin? How did they figure out that Juan Carlos had Bitcoin? Because he was doing sketchy shit, okay? He was doing sketchy shit and he got busted. And then they went looking for the Bitcoin. So anyways, the whole reason why I wanted to cover this story is because I thought it was funny that in the end, he pretty much got busted by a frickin' text document, okay, tied to his Apple account. That's number one. And number two, the big takeaway is the boating accident does not absolve you of personal responsibility. It's a fun meme. We like to say it. It's got really cool little graphics, right? Of people jumping off boats and boats exploding and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, this is a fucking fantasy. It's a fairy tale. All right? So even though it's fun, you got to be a little bit more realistic. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.